very first episode, and I am super excited to be here today. Today we have an interesting theme, and then the theme has to do with belonging without losing yourself. But before we dive deep into it, let's go ahead and introduce who I have here. I have two wonderful men, and as we always do, we get the information from the original source to keep the authenticity of the information that comes out. So I'll just direct the whole thing to you. Just open. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do? The world wants to know.
Yeah, my name is Daniel. I grew up in Southern California in LA, and I moved up to Berkeley for school. And for I think about 10 years I was doing software engineering, but I recently switched my career to become a therapist. So that's why I'm it's been interesting, and that's why I'm here at Notre Dame de Namur. I'm trying to get my license to be a therapist, and I'm really excited to be here.
What actually inspired that? Just something that's a very quick diversion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did jump from software to psychology like all of a sudden, but like all of us, I think our decisions are like a culmination of all of our life story, and
Yes.
so I think for me, I was like struggling with my mental health for many years, and part of it was because like my family, like my parents like had a pretty bad marriage, and that really affected me, and so I was searching for love, and just like all of us, and I couldn't really find that, and I think I started to ask myself like the bigger questions of like, why was I doing software, and a lot of it was because of the convenience, the cushy tech life,
Yeah.
but it wasn't meaningful to me. And I went through my own healing journey and realized that I could help other people on their journey too. And I realized that there was a need for people to talk more about mental health and get help.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, if I'm not getting married, I might as well do something that's
At least it helps society.
that's for me,
and
like
make
that I
yourself
want
happy.
to do and help people.
Yeah.
Basically feels like him. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's
Authenticity.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's an inspiring story, but it will be a different topic for another day. We have a
Yes.
lot of things to pick up from there. But let's move to you. Who are you?
My name is Isaac. I'm mostly known as Ike or Mr. Ike. I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa, and I actually do live in Canada. I'm currently in Ottawa, and I'm here. Basically, this is my second day in the States. So,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
I hope you're
thank
enjoying
you.
it though.
I'm enjoying it so far. Yesterday when I was just in the airport, I was trying to find my way over here.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just kind of a overwhelming situation. I was told to calm down, but I don't know where I am. But so far so good. As I work in basically a property management, we work with a property management, and I work as basically as maintenance, and that's something that. Basically, that's not something I would say I wanted to do, right? But it was part of the journey when I started being part of here, going to school in University of Winnipeg and all that. With a lot of people, with my work field, a lot of people that I've met, I've always loved to be a journalist, like a sports journalist. And I did work doing commentary, all those kind of things back home. So when I moved here, I think that was one thing that really pushed me hard that I really want to do. And trying to strive to know where exactly I want to fit in, right? Basically talking about the same topic, belonging. So I want to try to fit myself if that's something I really want. And I've always needed and wanted that. No, I love talking, right? But it's in a specific way, not generally talking.
Okay.
But when it comes to, I remember like the sports field, like about that specific section about journalism, I do enjoy that. But sometimes it could feel like I'm more of an ambivert, right? Having the kind of 60-40 introvert and also having the extrovert section. But sometimes though it's always hard because some people could see that side of me that's so bubbly. Others will see the cushy side, right? And but so far it's been my journey has been good.
That's
As my
great.
brother said, I'm sorry about what you said regarding the family. I'm sorry about that. I've also had my fair share regarding that. For sure, all of us have tried to find love and all those kind of things, right? One thing that he said that really kicked me was the mental health thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm somebody that used to bubble up a lot of things. Trust me. I could trust you, but it needs to take like 100% if I could say certain things to you, right? And it got to a certain point because I was not speaking up a lot about certain things that I was going through, or I feel I'm not feeling well, maybe I should need to talk to somebody, but I will never do that, right? I feel like, oh, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
instead over here, we know that back at home, sometimes they want men to be strong.
Yeah,
We should
yeah,
keep
yeah.
Oh,
everything,
yes.
we should do
Yeah.
all those kind of things. And I did that. I always feel like, oh, it's good, you know.
Yeah.
But everybody does see Ike, he like smiling, he like this, like, but you know, sometimes Ike is
Yeah.
bubbling.
Yes.
And it got to a certain time that it all exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I felt like it's very necessary that whatever you're going through, speak up.
Yes.
Get somebody, just talk to somebody. So it's very
Yeah.
good that you're doing that. So when you were saying, I was just listening keenly, but yeah, it's all hit me. That's very
Yeah.
necessary.
It's always okay until it's not okay.
Exactly,
Trust me, yeah.
exactly. And I think that is why we are all here today to talk about such issues, you know. Unfortunately, people have been like captured in such a way that they are supposed to look good in front of society and all that, but we are here to let you know that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to share, it's okay to open up, you know.
Yeah.
We are all growing and we learn every moment. So let's go back straight to the theme, why we are here. And if you don't know me, my name is Miss Anne, and before we continue, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share with loved ones, okay, and get connected with us. And then today we are talking about belonging. What is belonging? What is belonging about? Like, how do you connect to people without just necessarily pleasing them, you know?
Yeah.
But at least maintaining that kind of humanity connection that we all need, that we are looking for. I'll throw it to my guys here, and then maybe we can start with you this time. Tell us about what belonging is
So,
to you.
so the first thing, whatever that came into mind when you said it was, let me fit in, belonging, right? And at this time, that's not the word I go for anymore. At first, in those stages, I'm like, okay, there's a group of things that I just need. I'm interested in this specific thing, so let me try and see if it will work for me, right? But in this stage of where I have been at this moment, it means more than just that. It's even like trying to get a friend, who I should even call a friend, who I shouldn't call a friend. Are all those people coming around me, are all those people that will call friends? That's something
Yeah.
also I need to think about it.
Oh my god.
So when it
I
comes
don't
to
mind that.
when it comes to belonging, I feel like it's a whole kind of shell on its own. It's something that it's like we should grab it by piece by piece. So to me, it's not just about trying to put yourself to fit in somebody's shoes. It's basically trying to understand how you personally feel yourself before trying to endeavor into someone's situation. So I go to school. There are a lot of procedures that I go through. We have all classes, science, all those kind of things. People want to find what they feel like it will work for them in this stage, right? So I go there and I say like, this is a food that I think that will work for me, not because of the money only, but because that I could make an impact. That somebody could even just look at me and say, okay, what this person is doing is not only about the benefits of the money, but in the benefit that the things that he even talks about when he try to reach out to people, the things that he try to produce. So it's a whole ball shell that I feel like once we do understand what we need as humans or as once ourselves, that's why it's always advisable that you love yourself to know what you want per se before you try to share that love to another person. So sometimes when that love is not there, you crack and it explodes.
Yes.
So try and understand what you want before trying to fit yourself into someone's shoe to understand if the space that I'm entering, if it's something that I feel like I'll be able to share those pieces that that space holds. So
Yeah.
I think belonging is something that we should try and embody ourselves in something that we do love, in something that we do appreciate, and in something that once I've combined myself, I'm going to this space, I'm going to this unit, it's something I really want to do it. I'm going to make that impact over there. So yeah, in a bombshell, that's what I feel like it is.
Yeah, and I think I do side with you with certain part, because mostly I believe that we normally give out what is within us.
Yeah.
If not as I pretended. Pretending too is another topic for another day.
Yeah.
But mostly you just give out what is within us. But let's also come to you. What do you have to say about it?
Yeah, belonging is an interesting concept. I feel like the feeling of belonging kind of evolves as you get older. When I think about the times that I felt like I belonged in the past, I think there's usually a feeling of like, oh, these are my people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a combination of personality, values, and like fun and mission. And I think, like for myself, I think that felt like, you know, when you're growing up, it's like your friend group.
Yeah.
And then in high school, I was part of the wrestling team. And so you guys develop a shared identity of like you guys understand each other because you go through things that the other people don't know. You have your own language, your own culture, and you're the community. But then as I get older, like those aren't my people anymore. I don't in some sense they are, because I still love like grappling, I still love these things. But then in college I got really into like religion, so I was like part of this Christian church that was like almost a cult. It was very dogmatic. They had their own subculture, and I felt like I belonged there. But then I started to disagree with what they what they were doing. And so then I think that what I'm trying to say is that I think belonging is that where we are in that given time, we want to find the people that are going to be there for us and help us for that part of our journey. But that can change. And obviously sometimes you have people where you stick together forever, like, but it's rare, I think.
That's true.
And some people, they don't even belong in they don't feel like they belong even in their own family. And that's what's hard. And I think the solution to that is to not be so judgmental and realize that like we all belong to one human race, like one human experience. And we have to learn how to like see each other like past the beliefs and the politics and all and the the masks.
And I think that's where people normally struggle with, having to question where they felt belonged for a long time, or something they've known for a very long time. So you, for example, you at least had the courage to question what was being taught at that Christian church or the place you found yourself, which was amazing. But that brings us to this question: how do you get to realize, notice, or understand the fact that you are losing yourself to your friends, you are losing yourself to maybe your romantic partner, to your family, people, your loved ones? How do you get to know? Because sometimes you feel like you don't want to create any kind of conflict. You want to keep the peace, you want to keep things moving, but how do you tell the difference? Any one of you who want to start?
I think when it gets to that level, that's when we started the topic, right? The main things about the belonging situation too. Before we enter this space, we cared about the person because the care is there. If the care is not there, you won't have even put yourself in that situation. You care, you love, so you put everything out for this person, right? You get to a situation, it's too strong, and you look at yourself, and maybe sometimes that time you feel like you don't belong to this space, you don't fit in this space. So is this the time for me to just close the door and just leave? You just don't do that, right? So the first step is that you being in the person's space or person's life, it's a big whole thing of its own thing. Like you guys have created this bond, right? So you understand your situation. I don't think I'm here again. Have you understood it yourself to basically forgive yourself before leaving? So once you do that you've already understood that maybe I don't fit in this situation. This is not the time for me to feel like I could always. There's a certain point that we could say that we can consider someone's feeling just to be there for the person because we care so much that we don't want to lose the person. So because of that, we should just be in the space. But this is the point that you are also losing yourself because you've not understood the point that I'm not here anymore. That's because it's basically mentally wise before the action speaks. So mentally wise, you feel like you are not there. But as long as the person gets in, right, you want to make sure everything is clean, everything is nice, the smile is there. But sometimes that's not just it. Sometimes it's just that when the action speaks, the little things, you could notice that I'm losing this person. So the first step is about you understanding yourself, I don't fit here. Second, forgive yourself that once you are going to move yourself from this space, you don't fit in. As my brother said, what he did was that he doesn't really fit like the rules, whatever, the beliefs, all those things that the group had. He doesn't have that same feelings or same beliefs anymore.
More like it starts with a feeling.
Exactly.
And then you listen to yourself, your instincts.
Your instincts is important.
Communicating to
but
you.
Most of us too, sometimes we don't even forgive ourselves before we let out certain things. So you understand to forgive yourself before removing yourself from that situation. Removing yourself doesn't make you a bad person. It's about you understanding yourself that I don't fit in this space anymore. But it's right for you to also let the group or your people know that. When my brother was speaking, I wanted to ask a question about, do we sometimes have helpers that we reach to a certain point and those helpers need to move on? Sometimes I believe there are certain things like that. That people that come into our own space for a minute, for this, doesn't mean you moving on, you're a bad person.
Yes.
Because we've met a lot of people nowadays that sometimes we are not there with those people anymore. But you can deeply tell in your heart you love those people.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You're right. So I believe that we have, as humans, we all have those connections, right? But it's hard for sometimes for us to tell you that I really want to leave. I really want to do this. That's the difficult thing that we always do, that we don't give it out. But once you do it, in the long run, that's the better thing for you. Like if you do it, that's the better thing. So in the whole show, that's what I think about it.
All right. Do you want to add your voice, or I want to also chip in case you want to add your voice to the same thing or this one about this helpers thing, because sometimes, I know you helped me,
Yeah.
achieve certain things, but most people end up being like they are, should I quote it as prisoners, because it's more like you can't say no to the person anymore just because the person helped you.
I see.
How does that really work? Because that people have that notion that because I helped you, you should never say no when I come to you. Like you should be
you
in a
owe
position
them,
to
right?
also offer me that same hand, and I feel it's not fair. It's not fair. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like case by case, because I think that there's something good about loyalty.
Yeah.
You know, like we all,
The
I mean,
question
like our
of
parents,
loyalty.
right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yes.
parents is the best example.
Uh-huh.
It's like I know so many people that they go, my parents paid for my college, or they raised me, they fed me, they were there for me, so then I have to do what they say. And I think that that's like it can be tricky, and I think same thing applies to like friendships and stuff. And I think that everybody has to decide for themselves like where they draw the line. But it's important that they at least feel like the autonomy to say like, I'm choosing to do this. Like if I'm gonna obey my parents, it's because like I'm making that choice. And I feel like a lot of people, they live their lives and they don't realize that they're going down a certain path because they feel like it's the only option.
Do you think
Yeah.
that comes from fear or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's fear and shame
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
guilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So having to make choices, okay, that also bring this question up about how to address your personal feelings to your loved ones, to your parents, to your siblings, and all that. How do you address it? Because sometimes it's really hard to stand for yourself.
Yes.
But you also don't want the person to feel bad, or you don't want the person to feel like you are ignoring, but you want the person to understand where you're also coming from. How do you go about it? It's more like making a tough decision, amidst your loved ones.
I think part of it has to do with fear, like you're saying, like those having those awkward conversations.
Yes.
But I think that there has to be so one strategy is to like slowly build up to the heavier question. So you start with like smaller, and then you see where do you start hitting the wall where they're going, no.
Okay, so let's just give it like a very practical example. If there is any what are those small questions that could pop up? How do you start a conversation? Because this person is like so much into you. The person like truly cares about you. The person probably want the best for you, but you know what the person is wishing. Let's say your parents, okay, is trying to get you into a particular school, and you are looking at something totally different, okay, like a different career or something. And
That's actually like one of the things I went through.
I'm glad that
Good.
you can
Talk
say.
about-
So
yeah.
how did you go about it? You
So,
can tell us how you approached the
that
whole
was during
situation.
going to high school. So back in my hometown, basically Ghana, what we do is that before you go into high school, right, the schools are categorized to A, B. I think during my time it's up to F or E, something like that. And I really wanted to go to one of our province, Western region. I wanted to go GSTS. That was the school I wanted to go to. But my older brother went to school in Accra. In Accra is our capital.
Capital, yeah.
And the school over there, I remember my brother went to a private school, so it was expensive, right? And during that time, we didn't speak our dialect. And my dad was that. Because I'm the second born, and I'm supposed to, we don't speak our language. I'll be there one day we use to go to basically my hometown to go and learn the dialects, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, no, that was my first time. I don't speak the language, right? My main choice, I didn't go there because I really liked it. I did because basically they're my parents. I just need to follow that.
Wow.
Honestly, in this time when I'm thinking about it, I was very happy going there. But during the initial stages, trust me, I wasn't happy because one, I didn't know the language there was different, right? I was thinking about a lot of perceptions that I had before going there. because during that time I just need to do my own diggings. How is the place like? How is this like? How is this like? Right? But that initial stage, trust me, no, because I felt like I was forced to go there because my brother went to this space. Then I'm the one being sacrificed, and it's crazy because my name actually is Isaac, right? Isaac, you know.
He was almost sacrificed.
So I was like, I'm the one using.
Yeah.
So during the initial stages, I remember I told my dad, nah, I'm not happy about it. So when they were doing the school selection, I was not there in the game. I didn't want to look at it because I felt like my choice will not be there. It was what my parents wanted, so I just needed to allow that. So after we went to the school and all that, trust me, I did enjoy. From the long run, I'm like, okay, that was a good idea. That was the time that I'm sitting and looking at those reflections, like the mirror that I was looking into. I'm like, okay, that choice they made for me was good, right? But if I was supposed to choose my own thing, it wouldn't have been that same space. So I think as children during that stages, one, it's about the respect. And where we come from, you know how we revere our parents, right? So we need to respect their words. They didn't trust you that this space you are going is good. By their words, we feel like, okay, I trust my dad. I need to do this. I trust my mom. I need to do this. And always we have into our mind that we don't need to disappoint them.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that this year, like these stages, is quite different from maybe that I'm not that old, but it's different from that era. Because I know during that time when my dad speaks and say, hey, you are going to this space. I'm going there. I have nothing to say. He's the one paying the money.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say.
Well, I think I understand you. There are certain situations you may want to listen to your parent, but I may have also a different story from yours. Because, for example, after high school, even before high school, going to high school, my parents wanted me to take a particular program or the course, that's the home econs and stuff, because for them, our country, the most popular career as a girl that you may want to take to get easy job and then easy money was to be a nurse or a teacher. So they wanted me to go into nursing because all my siblings are into, nursing, teaching, and then let's say lab tech.
Okay.
So they wanted me to also follow that trend, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna do that. But after junior high school, my parents, they made me choose that program, alright. But funny enough, after the result came and then the school came out, I had a different course, and I was so happy it had changed to the course I wanted initially.
Yeah.
And the school I went to, my uncle was there. That was just my father's brother, the youngest.
Yeah.
So they were trying to convince him to tell me to change it to the home econs. I was like, no way, I'm not changing it. So we maintained it, finished it. Now after high school, guess what? They want me to go to a particular school close to home and do a particular course, which I wasn't even interested in. Initially, I wanted to go into journalism, for example, and then it was chaos. There was a whole lot of argument. At that time, you're young, so you didn't know how to communicate well, even if you're right.
Yeah.
And I also understood them because they're parents, they're trying to also do what? Protect you. But eventually, I had what I want. I made them choose, buy forms for one of the schools that they wanted, and I also bought a form for a school I wanted. And funny enough, what I wanted came through, and I went straight for it. And my parents didn't hesitate to support me. So I think it's about communicating your information very well to your loved one. It could be your parents. It could be like your friends that you grew up with since like childhood. Because as you know, as we grow up, you mentioned it earlier, things do change, right? Our interests change, our actions, what we believe in, a lot of things change. But some people, it doesn't change for them. We are all different, right? So next time you go there and then you're acting a different way, they try to make you feel bad. Okay, but how do you try to maintain that kind of relationship with them? Through communication. It's very key. And it doesn't mean you are supposed to be rude. Because one thing I've also realized is people also don't know the difference between being authentic and being rude. What do you think about that then? If you think about it, I feel that a lot of people, they are like, yes, I'm being myself, but they end up being rude and overreacted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to like boundaries and knowing like where do I end and the other person begins.
Yes.
And I think people who are like kind of over the top rude or they're imposing, they don't like respect the other person as like their own separate person that's equal, and they feel like their energy and their space, their opinions are like they're entitled to push that onto other
Into
people,
other people.
or that I like, or for instance, I could say whatever I want, and how you feel about it doesn't matter. And and how do you fix that? I mean, I personally feel like the people have to find like peace with themselves 1st, and that a lot of this rudeness is really a person, like inner child, kind of saying, like, see me,
Oh,
like I want you to, I want you to see who I really
need
am
the
and accept me.
attention.
They get the
Yes,
attention.
very important.
And I feel like at some point in our lives, we have to get to a place where it's okay if people don't see us that much, or that
Yes.
people even reject
Yeah.
who we really are. And I feel like when you hit that point in life, you realize, like, okay, I can just say what I think, like, calmly, and if you don't agree, okay, it's okay,
That's fine.
it's
Yeah.
fine. You know, I'm me. Like, we both go back to our apartments and watch TV. Like, it's chill, you know,
That's
right?
I think it's about one day, exactly what you said. It's about self-creating happiness, right? So if you have that balance within yourself, sometimes you don't try and push yourself to that corner a lot, because you know a lot. Like we are done with school. There are a lot of people that maybe a lot of things that you might do within your own space that work for you. Done with school, you just go home, you need to cook for yourself, you just watch a movie, do those things. That works for you. There are a lot of people that would like to, after school, they would like to hang out with friends, they want to do this, they like to do that. With me, maybe I feel that social space and anxiety, maybe having my own personal space and time, sometimes is very good for me. So sometimes it's good for you to create that happiness for yourself before trying to embody yourself in the society yet.
Yeah.
Because always trying to fit in, trying to do all this, sometimes it doesn't work. So once you know you've created that space of happiness for yourself, mostly it's hard for you to always think and look for happiness within those kind of corners. Like, oh, let me go to this friend of mine, you know, we can hang out, we can do this. What if that friend is not there at that moment? What can you also do for yourself? So the self-creating happiness, I think, is one of the important things that we need to do for sure.
Okay, so time is not really on our side, but there are two important questions I really want to ask before we end. We just wrap it up. The first one has to do with, what do you think is the role of social media and our sense of belonging and personal identity? How's it influencing that? What do you think about it? That is one question that I would like you to reflect on. And then the other one will be, wait, my question just got missing in my head. It's like a whole lot of stuff. But okay, let's just go back to this, answer this, and then
Okay.
we'll go on to.
Is it okay if I take
Yes.
this one?
Yes.
So in regards to social media, right now I feel like it's its own like universe. It's like an illusion that we look at it, right? So I post a picture, get these tons of likes, these tons of comments, all these kind of things. Just mentioning Facebook, all these things. It's a very good tool, trust me. It helps, like when you go to the pros and cons, it helps with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Promoting of business, people get a lot of money from this social media. When you go to
Yes.
TikTok, see a lot of people that come like celebrities, all those kind of things. So trust me, it's very good. But I make it like this kind of illusion just because the things that people show over there doesn't mean in real life it still works that way. Once we do understand that people, like in terms of social media angle, is totally different from the reality, you will not even trying to trigger your own self by seeing people posting pictures. Doing those things trigger you like, oh my goodness, just look at this car. I can get this at 20. Oh, somebody's at 20 years want to get this, want to get that, want to get it because of social media. So that's how sometimes people perceive it as being bad. No, trust me, it's very good. We are here, this YouTube, this all this, you send the link out, people try to share it for you, get a lot of numbers on your business, get all these tools. So it's a very good tool. It's something that it helps you to connect with people, communication. We are here, and sometimes when you're trying to reach out to our families, we cannot just take our phone and just use a normal call and just call them. We need to use something like a WhatsApp. We need to use maybe just any of those tools. So with the communication tool, it's very great. But it's a point that we as humans need to understand that it's a whole platform. Once you get out from there, the reality is different. Don't let people's things trigger you for doing certain things that doesn't help. So it pros is solid.
And then, in as much as you're talking about how it helps, talking about social media and what people put on there, sometimes I feel it may be good, with a good notion, but something like the motivational speakers, who sometimes, how people listen to motivational speakers and all that, do you think it's right the way people just fully pay attention to it and just go straight for it and like, oh, I learned I can do it, so I have to still do it. Because sometimes I feel it's okay to say no to certain things. It doesn't always have to be a yes. It's okay not to be very good at something. You don't necessarily have to know everything. But you know, a motivational speaker will tell you, no matter what, once you keep your mind on it, you can do it and achieve it, and you end up wasting your entire years on one thing, which I feel it happens. So we just have to be very careful. So I think you can go to the next question, which will be our final question. That one will be about compromising. How to know when to compromise. Is it necessary to compromise? What's the importance of compromising without losing your sense of self?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I do think it's important to compromise. The reason why is because when we come to relationships, all of us have needs. And the truth of the world is that, like, you're never going to get everything that you want. There's always trade-offs, always pros and cons. And so if you're somebody who believes that you never have to compromise, you're always going to be looking for the next better deal.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh, is there another one out there that's a little bit better? Is it a little bit better?
That's true.
And I think at some point in our lives we have to decide, like, and you can do that. It's important that we recognize sometimes there are better lives that fit us better out there. But we also have to ask ourselves, like, am I being too entitled and not actually balancing like what I take and what I give in my relationships? And so when you find somebody that you really like vibe with, whether it's a friend or romantic partner, I think if we can work on our empathy, we start to realize, like, okay, it's not just about me and my life and my needs, but this person has their own needs and like background. And I think that when people don't compromise, they're refusing to accept the limitations of their life and their relationships and of like other people, because they're saying, like, I need you to come all the way to what I want. And that's, like, I think unrealistic a lot of times, and that we have to find balance. But it is important to know, like, where you will draw the line, because you have to know, like, okay, I'm not okay with this relationship that only gives me this much. And we have to have the courage to say, okay, I don't know what a different life will look like if I leave this person, but I'm going to like trust that I'm going to be okay. And you know, if this person really loves me, they'll let me explore and they'll still be here when I come back. Like, maybe, I mean, I'm sure that's something that you need to like ask, but my point being that like people who love you will let you go. And I think that having the courage to say this is not working for me is like okay, and to try something else. But sometimes you do need to compromise because the world doesn't revolve around you, I think.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. I think it's been amazing. If we're going to keep on going, we will never end. There's a lot to actually talk about when it comes to belonging, and then, you know, at the same time, maintaining who you are, being true to yourself and all of that. We'll just wrap up here, and then if you have any final words to give, you can just make it very brief. Anyone to go first? You can.
What I would say is that as humans, try to understand yourself first, and it's okay for you to put yourself first sometimes, and it's not a bad thing. And we always need to know that compromisation is not a bad thing. Something we need to compromise in any situation, right? But you also need to know when to draw the line. So there should always also be boundaries. And I know that with boundaries and also compromisation in everything that we do, you for sure build up a very good relationship within yourself and also with friends as a whole.
I think my 2 tips would be, 1, to like ask what happened to you. Like, what are the things that happened in your life that brought you to choose these friends or choose this church or this community, this school? And we need to reflect on our past. I think that's how one way we find like who we are. And then the other thing I would say is that we need to write down our core values. That the reason why we don't get along with certain people, or we feel like there's something off, is generally not because someone's like right or wrong necessarily, but it's that we value different things more. And so I think it's good to write it down.
That makes sense. I love that last statement you made. It's very true. Something I'm going to keep in mind. So viewers, just something for you to also reflect on. If you could go back in time and give yourself advice about belonging, what would you say? Could you recall a time when you felt the pressure to fit in? What was that experience like for you? You can share your comments right down below here, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you same time another time. Bye.